They didn't expect silence. They expected a reaction, anger, desperation, a flood of words trying to fix what was broken, trying to make sense of the chaos they caused. They expected you to argue, to chase, to demand answers, to beg for clarity, for closure, for validation. That's what most people do. They speak, they plead, they try to hold on. But you didn't. You gave them none of that. No explanations, no retaliation, no closure, just silence. And now they're spinning, confused, because they can't read you anymore. Restless, because they're not used to being ignored. Regretful, because now your absence is louder than your presence ever was. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Silence cuts deeper than words ever could. Because words give people something to hold on to, something to twist, debate, or dismiss. But silence leaves them alone, with themselves. And not everyone can handle that. It forces them to face their own actions, their own choices, their own flaws. It exposes them not to you, but to themselves. In this video, you'll understand why silence is not weakness, not avoidance, but power. The kind of power that doesn't seek revenge, doesn't crave validation, and doesn't lose control. You'll learn why walking away without saying a single word can make more noise than screaming ever will. Because silence, it echoes, it lingers, it haunts. And while they expect noise, drama, and chaos, what truly shakes them is your calm, unshakable silence. Watch them as they unravel, while your silence echoes louder than anything you've ever said. Welcome to Mindful Stoicism, where we help you master yourself so no one else can. Let's dive into why silence isn't just golden, it's transformational. 1. Silence creates space, and space breeds discomfort. Silence isn't just the absence of sound, it's the presence of space. When you choose to go silent, especially in the face of conflict, betrayal, or manipulation, you create a void, a space where there used to be words, attention, and emotional reactions. And this space? It's not peaceful for the one on the receiving end. It's deeply uncomfortable. Most people are used to noise, constant messages, validation, arguments, explanations. They're addicted to engagement because it gives them a sense of control. When you respond, they know where they stand. They can predict, manipulate, or even feel superior. But when you go quiet, you take all of that away. You create uncertainty, and human beings are naturally unsettled by uncertainty. This discomfort grows with time. First, they wonder what you're thinking. Then, they start imagining worst-case scenarios. Doubt creeps in. Regret follows. Did they lose you for good? Are you better off without them? Have you moved on? All these thoughts are born in the space your silence created. Space is where overthinking thrives. It's where people replay their actions and begin to feel the weight of their decisions. It's where they start to feel your absence, not just as a lack of words, but as a deep emotional void. And here's the most powerful part. You don't have to do anything. Just hold that silence. Let the space exist. Let the discomfort grow. Because in that space, they will either grow and realize your value or break under the weight of their own conscience. Silence isn't passive. It's active restraint. It's a deliberate move to let them face themselves. And for many, that is the hardest confrontation of all. 2. Words can be twisted. Silence cannot. Words can be twisted, silence cannot. When you speak, every word becomes vulnerable to interpretation. People hear what they want to hear, not necessarily what you meant. They filter your words through their own emotions, biases, and insecurities. Even the most carefully chosen sentences can be misunderstood, manipulated, or used against you. One slip, one emotional outburst, and suddenly the focus is no longer on the truth, but on your reaction. Words can be replayed, dissected, and thrown back at you in moments of conflict. What you meant as honesty may be seen as weakness. What you meant as closure may be taken as an invitation to reopen wounds. Once spoken, your words are no longer yours. They belong to their interpretation. Silence, on the other hand, is immune. It cannot be misquoted. It cannot be taken out of context. It offers nothing to argue with, nothing to defend, nothing to attack. Silence is clear in its ambiguity. It creates space, and in that space the other person is left alone with their thoughts. They are forced to fill in the blanks, to question what your silence means, to reflect on their own actions without distraction. Silence puts the burden on them. It makes them wonder, are you indifferent? Are you done? Are you at peace? Or are you simply done wasting your breath? That uncertainty is powerful. It makes them uncomfortable because they can't control silence the way they try to control words. When you choose silence, you protect your energy. You refuse to let your voice be twisted or your emotions be toyed with. You choose self-respect over reaction. And in that choice, you maintain your power quietly, confidently, unshakably. 3. Silence signals strength and control. Silence signals strength and control. It's easy to speak. It's easy to react, especially when emotions are running high. Most people can't handle the tension of silence. They feel the need to fill the space with words, explanations, or justifications. But when you choose silence, you show that you are not like most people. You are not driven by impulse or ego. You are in control. Silence is a statement, a declaration that you do not need to defend yourself, prove your worth, or engage in games. When someone wrongs you or tries to provoke you, they expect a response. They want to know they still have access to your emotions, your time, your energy. Your silence strips that power away. It tells them that you are not dependent on their approval or attention. In that quiet, you show self-mastery. It takes inner strength to hold your peace, especially when your pride is wounded or your heart is aching. But choosing silence doesn't mean you're suppressing your feelings. It means you're refusing to let those feelings control your behavior. It means you have risen above the need for validation. It means you are prioritizing your peace over pointless conflict. Control is not about dominating others. It's about mastering yourself. And silence is the ultimate display of that mastery. It shows that you are not easily shaken, not easily provoked, and definitely not desperate for resolution. You decide when to engage and when to walk away. Silence is discipline in action. It's confidence without the need for noise. And in a world where people are quick to react, your calm stillness will set you apart and leave a lasting impact. Your silence becomes unforgettable, not because of what you said, but because of the strength you didn't need to prove. 4. Your silence forces them to reflect. When you go silent, You take away their ability to distract themselves with arguments, noise, or justification. You take away the chance for them to shift blame or control the narrative. And suddenly, they're left alone, with nothing but their own thoughts. That silence becomes a mirror, and not everyone is ready to look into it. In the absence of your voice, your energy, your presence, they start to notice things they ignored before. The way you supported them, the way you showed up, the value you added, all of it becomes clearer in the silence. Because sometimes people don't realize your worth until they feel the void you leave behind. And the mind hates a void. It needs to fill that space, make sense of it, analyze it. So they begin to reflect, not just on your silence, but on what led to it. Why did they stop responding? Did I push them too far? Did I take them for granted? The longer you remain silent, the louder these questions become in their mind. Reflection isn't always comfortable. In fact, it's often painful, especially when they begin to understand the role they played in losing your attention, your care, or your trust. Your silence denies them the comfort of deflection. It forces them to take a hard look at themselves, and that can be the most difficult thing of all. This is why silence is powerful, because in those quiet moments where they expected conflict but received none, they are left with only themselves to confront, and that confrontation can shake them to their core. While you've moved on to peace, they're stuck in reflection, haunted by the sound of your silence. 5. Silence lets them experience your absence fully. When you go silent, you don't just stop talking, you remove your presence, your energy, your attention. The space you once filled in their life becomes empty. And in that emptiness, they start to notice what they took for granted. Most people don't truly value something until it's gone. While you were there listening, supporting, responding, they may have thought it would always be that way. They grew used to your presence, to your availability, but silence disrupts that. It creates a void they can't ignore. In your silence, they begin to feel the weight of your absence. They reach for their phone and find no messages. They look for your reactions, your comfort, your validation, and find nothing. Suddenly, they realize what it means to be without you, and that realization is powerful. Words could never make them feel what your silence forces them to feel. Because silence is not passive, it's active. It says without saying, I am no longer available to you. And that message is loud and clear. They begin to understand that you were not just a person in their life, you were a presence, a piece, a support system, and now all of that is gone. Left behind is the echo of what used to be, and the silence that follows becomes their reminder. Let them feel that. Let them sit with it. Let them understand that your silence is not a punishment. It's a reflection of their actions, and through that reflection, they will either wake up to what they lost or continue to drown in the noise of their own thoughts. Either way, you've reclaimed your power, and that's what truly matters. So the next time someone tries to hurt you with their words, games, or actions, don't respond. Don't chase. Don't explain. Just go silent. Let your absence speak for itself, and trust that silence hurts more than words ever could. Thank you for watching Mindful Stoicism. If this resonated with you, like, subscribe, and let us know in the comments. Have you ever used silence as your power move? And what happened? Stay mindful, stay strong. Silence is strength, use it wisely.